Whether you're a junior developer, senior developer, tech lead, or engineer and manager, your role involves making decisions on a daily basis. What technology should you use? What feature should get the highest priority? What candidate should you choose after a couple of tech interviews? For most of us, making those decisions can be very hard because of fear of failure. After around 10 years in the industry, I have created a cheat sheet on how to hack a decision process. If you follow this framework, it will be easier for you to make decisions. And, which is even more important, you will be able to make quick decisions, so you won't finish as a donkey from Buridan's S paradox. A donkey is perfectly rational and always chooses the pile of hay that is closer to him. But if it was standing right in the middle between two identical piles of hays, there would be no clear reason to choose one over another. So a donkey would end up standing there, never making a decision and starving to death. What is a decision? A word decision is coming from Latin word decisio. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, to be honest, because I don't know Latin. But anyway, this word means diminishment. So while making a decision, you simply cut off something without any chance of getting back to a previous state. So as long as you realize it, the increasing level of anxiety makes it hard for us to decide. I guess nobody will die from hunger or thirst because we can't decide. But every time when we can't make a decision, we pay the price. The price is time. And time, of course, is one of the keys to success in the software development. So here's what you should do. Narrow down your choices. Try to choose two best options and to focus on deciding on one of them. Sometimes there can be three options, but from my experience, having more than three options makes the decision process extremely complicated. Trust me, if there are more than three options, it will take too much time to decide. It will be complicated even if you use this framework. Why? This is bringing us to the next point. Compare the pros and cons of each option. If there are more than two options, it will be hard to write down the pros and cons of each option and to compare them. So let's assume I need to choose between two designs of my feature. I write down pros and cons of each of them and start comparing. While comparing them, I need to understand what's less important and also to find out the biggest dilemmas. In order to do that, define the most important things for you. For example, it can be performance, maintainability, development time. Define these things and compare each option accordingly. Set the deadline. Making decisions can be very hard, so you'll easily find yourself procrastinating. Without any clear deadline, you'll do any other task in order to try to avoid deciding now. And I bet you've got no control over this. But when you set a deadline, you'll have to start working on making a decision anyway. So what's the deadline? That's a great question, and the right answer is it depends. For example, if you need to decide on a candidate that you've just interviewed, you can't take a month to think about it. When you are thinking that software engineer is probably going to an interview in another company, there is a big chance he'll accept an offer at another company if it takes too much time for you to decide. Ask for help. Our brain is wired to our previous experience, and sometimes we need someone that can see the things from a different angle. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Talk to people. Tell your teammate about your biggest dilemma in your high-level design process and listen to what he or she thinks on it. No, I don't say that you need to let them decide for you, but such conversation maybe can give you a boost and help you to find the right answer. Maybe you'll even choose the opposite option to what your teammate thinks. So once again, the main goal is not to let others to decide for you, but to try to see your biggest dilemma from a different perspective. Always get closer to making a decision. Whatever you do, it should help you to make a decision. For example, you're having a meeting with your colleagues. By any means, you need to push heavily to make a decision in the end of this meeting, or at least being able in the end of the meeting to define what's missing in order to decide. Define action items that will help you to get closer to a decision. Define who is responsible for every action item and set a proper deadline for each of them. And this way, you increase your chances to make make a decision on your next meeting. Bad decision is better than no decision. There is a famous quote by Sheryl Sandberg, "Done is better than perfect." Sometimes we can't decide just because two options are equal or almost equal. You remember a donkey and two piles of hay, right? So in this case, choosing randomly is not a bad option at all. But what if one of the options can cause a damage? Such option shouldn't be even on your list of options. For example, you think that this candidate is not experienced enough for your team? He shouldn't even be among the candidates. But if something looks less obvious anyway, the fear of failure shouldn't stop you. If you make a bad decision, you'll realize it sooner or later. Use your failure, your new experience, even if it's a bad experience, to fix the situation or to prevent such situation next time. Thus, don't promise anything that you are not sure about. Choose the option that will be possible to change. For example, don't make a design decision when it will take a couple of months to develop it, but it will take even more time to fix it if necessary. It's better even to break your chosen option to smaller milestones. Start with something small. Try to make a small POC, then analyze how it goes. Maybe you'll figure out fairly quickly that this is a bad decision, so you will be able to fix it or even to revert it without losing too much time. And getting back to something that I've said in the beginning of this video, time is the money that you pay for not being able to make a decision. Making decisions is hard, and that's okay that you don't feel comfortable about it. Nobody wants to be responsible for bad decision, obviously. So it's a skill, and every skill needs practice. And this skill is so important that you will never be able to advance your career without it. For instance, it's one of the most important things that junior developer faces while becoming a senior. Of course, it's not the only one thing like that, and I've even made a full video about what it's like for a junior developer becoming a senior. But it's already another topic, so see you in the next video.